Ali, welcome back to the channel. So I want to take this time to talk a little bit about the STAR system as well as the transfer portal. Now, always around this time of the year, it's always interesting to talk about the STAR system, right? We see the NFL draft and individuals start to have revisionist history about prospects that many people feel were seemingly overlooked, right? And just completely forget about the fact that, hey, in many aspects, were at that said time perceived to be better athletes, right? But as I listen to people talk about the STAR system year after year, people seem to kind of overlook some factors that go into guys not making it, right? Or when they start classifying guys as, oh, this guy's a bust, or this guy was misranked, what were they thinking, right? And so I thought about it. I said, well, these are a few things that I know recruiting services do not have the resources or anything to identify early, to somewhat say that this is something troubling. This is something that may hinder a guy from making it to the level that he should make it to. One thing is if a guy peaks too soon. Recruiting services do not have the ability to look at a guy and say, you know what, once he makes it to a college campus, he has nothing left in the tank. He does not have another level that he can go to, right? Like, there's nothing else there for him. And I remember I used to watch the show that came on. It's called Two-A-Days. It was about the Hoover High School. And at that time, they were considered to be the best high school team in all of America. Now, I know some people in California, people in Texas, and most definitely some people in Florida would say that is not true, right? But just for the basis of this video, Hoover High School. So I remember I was listening to, I remember listening to it, but I don't know where I heard it from. This guy asked a question. He said, Hoover High School has all of these great high school players, and then they make it to the college level and they don't translate. They're burned out. And so it made me think about a comment that I heard A-Black said. Shout out to A-Black from Storm Warning, him and Big Groove. A-Black was talking about his two sons and how he didn't want his two sons to peak too soon, which means he didn't want them to develop so quickly that they have nothing to give if they're blessed to make it to the next level, right? And so I think people just kind of overlook that happens. Guys peak in high school, they get to college, they have nothing left, right? And when they realize they don't have anything left, is when they get to campus and it's a guy that's picked to play the same position that they play, and you can do nothing with him. Because guys have turned football into a year-round sport. They are specializing in football. They play football during the season, then the off-season, they're working with individual coaches. If you're a skill position player, you're on traveling teams, like everything is about football. And so what that does, while yes, it's great that, iron is sharpening iron, but eventually some people gonna end up peaking, and they end up peaking at the wrong time, and they end up peaking before they get to college, and they have a very forgetful career. But again, I don't blame the STAR system for that, because y'all have no way of identifying it. Another one, guys that have been coddled. I'm speaking from experience. You have guys that are the best guys on the team, and the coach understands that, hey, this guy is the team. He's the offense or he's the defense. And that guy get preferential treatment. And those guys may throw fits. Those guys may do some things. They don't display the type of leadership that you need and all this stuff like that. Recruiting services are not getting that deep into it to realize that, oh, this guy right here is selfish. He's used to being coddled. He's used to getting his way. And so once he makes it to a 4-year university, they're not going to coddle him anymore. So what is he going to do in the face of adversity? Well, he's going to revert back to what he's been doing his whole life. He's going to revert back to pouting and moaning and groaning. And they'll let you do it for that first year because the scholarships are 1 year. But if you don't get your act together, we're going to go ahead and let your scholarship go. And you can go on about your business. You can go cry, coddle, go back to wherever you came from because you're no longer any good to us. But again, like I say, recruiting services don't know that. Another point is the guy who academically is not going to be able to learn the playbook, much less be a student that's going to remain eligible enough to play. They're guys who have trouble understanding the high school playbook. But they're superstar talents. I refer back to what Shannon Sharpe said one day while he was on Undisputed. Shannon Sharpe said when he got drafted by the Broncos, he didn't know the playbook. And he said it was a game where he went in motion every single play. And John Elway told him what his assignment was. And there are guys like that in high school, but they're super talented. They make it look so easy, defensively and offensively. But when you get to college, you got another guy that knows the playbook, and he's just as good as you are. They're not going to make any concessions for you to learn the playbook. But again, that's not the recruiting service fault. And then the last one that I want to touch on is that you have guys that come from small areas going to bigger areas, and they can't handle this added freedom. That's why you see that's where I think you see guys getting in trouble at. Because it's like, man, a lot of times it's like, I didn't come from an area like this. It's a lot more freedom. It's a lot more things to do. Because again, when you go on recruiting trips, that's kind of what they sell you on. They sell you on football, but then they also sell you on lifestyle, maybe in the area, away from campus if they have something away from campus. So, again, recruiting services don't know that a guy's going to do that. Or on the other side, a guy gets homesick. Or even if a guy loses the love for the game. That can happen. So, while 5-star players are not busting at the rate that many people think, it still gives people reason to talk about the star system. But the funny thing about this is, depending on what argument you're on for the day, it dictates which side you want to choose. Because you may have a guy that's in a recruiting class that has all the measurables and gets a 4th star. You don't have an issue with that. You're not arguing saying that a guy that has measurables but has limited tape should be down lower. You say, no, he has potential. He should be that. But then when a guy you feel should be rated higher is not getting the same accolades, not something wrong with the star system, when in reality, the guy who has no tape being ranked higher than him, he's part of the problem. But that is what it is. And lastly, as far as the portal talk, this is all I want to say about this. It's too soon to say that a team cannot win with portal players. Now, I will concede that taking 20 to 25 guys, I don't think is a recipe for success. I do think taking 10 to 15 guys, maybe you're going to have to do that per year. Because, like Coach Hayes said, you're going to have some guys that's going to break a shoestring. Right now, what we're seeing is guys that are penciled in to be starters, they're leaving for more NIL benefits. So you may be able to catch a guy who's in between, like his school is not paying him enough, and then he can come to your school. He'll take that deal. Miss evaluations for all of the things that I said about the star system, about a guy getting on campus and not being able to acquiesce. So 10 to 15 guys, I mean, it is what it is. And then also you still got guys that are leaving early for the draft. a guy made, and I'm gonna end it on this. A guy made a statement, and I respected the statement, but I had a rebuttal. His statement was, you cannot replace high school recruiting, elite high school recruiting, with guys from the portal. And my rebuttal to this is, you can't replace a starter that transferred to another school with a high school player either. You need a portal player. So to me, it's really not a discussion, but at this current time with NIL and the transfer portal in its current inception, you need both, right? As always, man, like, share, subscribe, comment. As always, is always about the you. Peace.